Started? Okay. What's going on, guys? We're back with another episode of the Coast to Coast podcast. We're doing an on-air edition where we bring on some homies, supporters of the show. And finally, my brother, my homie, he's been asking me. We've been at multiple parties. Like, when am I going to get on the pod? You're here on the pod. I finally got you, bro. I told you, just trust the process. You're going to be on it. And we're going to talk some hoops. And that's what we're doing. How you doing, my guy?
Let's go. Yes, sir. Thanks again for having me on, man. Thanks again, bro. Love it. Love what you're doing, man. Shout out to the other boys on the podcast too. Don't know them too well, but shout out to them as well. You guys are doing some good stuff, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. All right, well, we'll just jump right into it. We're gonna start off. We're talking hoops. We're just gonna go, through our favorite, trade deadline topics, second half of the season topics, and we're gonna start with the Eastern Conference, which is super, super close right now, and really like the whole conference is like a lot better than the last couple years, but it's really up in the air right now. The East, the top 10 seeds are separated by 8 games. The Hawks are at the 10 seed; they're 8 games back of the Bulls and the Heat, who are both tied for the 1 seed right now. It's very, very close. But the first 2 teams we want to talk about are the Sixers and the Nets, who we think really, really need to go through with this trade.
They need to, bro. It's about time because it's been long overdue. We've been talking about it for a year and a half now, something like that. And even when Harden was on the Rockets, we were even talking about a Ben Simmons package. I don't even know if you remember that. I remember that.
No, I do.
I was on board with just the Rockets taking Simmons because that was the best young asset they were gonna get. I don't know. I mean, they did get the 4 picks, but I mean, what did that turn into? I mean, we don't know much yet. But I mean, so far they traded LeVert for Oladipo and then traded Oladipo for.
And they didn't even end up with Jared Allen, who we'll get to later in the video.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big. That I like him. He's awesome.
No, I'm with you 100%. I was all on board for when Harden was going to force his way out. If I was Philly, I would have traded Simmons when he's still actually playing, and then traded Maxey.
Was actually decent at that point. You were able to trade Harden for Simmons. Yeah, at that point.
And probably throwing Maxey, who now Maxey's probably worth more than Simmons because he's been balling on the Sixers. He's been playing really, really well,
sure.
And is worth way more than he was.
Exactly. Is valuable, and he's been a playmaker for them since Ben Simmons is out. I mean, I can't think of another creator on their offense other than Maxey. I mean, he's been the one kind of facilitating the offense, kind of putting Embiid on, giving them ball in the high post and letting Embiid work. I mean, that's what I like, just how the Sixers are able to kind of stay afloat without Simmons, but, they need to make that trade. But, I mean, let's say they can't go for Harden. I mean, I'm trying to think of other packages they can maybe get for a Simmons, Thibault, and Maxey. I'm trying to think of other teams that can maybe want to go for that. Maybe the Timberwolves or something. Maybe
I got another one for you.
Get a D'Lo package.
Level. Dame. Let's talk about Dame. I think Dame would be a consolation prize if they don't get Harden, and I think that would be another player that would fit really well with Embiid.
Also, I mean, that would be fantastic. I mean, Lillard is just not vibing in Portland. I mean,
Portland as a franchise is not vibing.
I mean, they literally traded Covington and Powell, which to the Clippers
for nothing.
Great addition for the Clippers, in my opinion, for nothing.
Agreed.
And I mean, the reason why they traded Powell is because they had a long-term contract with him, and Covington, I think, is on expiring contract, so they got a lot of money off the books, which is fantastic for them.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're getting a lot of money off your books, that means you're hoping to sign someone. But I don't really think someone's going to be wanting to sign to Trailblazers, which means you're going to be having to sign kind of subpar players to bigger contracts.
You got to overpay
with
for
Norman
players
Powell
to stay in Portland. Exactly.
And now they're going to have to probably commit to Anthony Simons, since they're probably going to have to trade Damian Lillard. He's been playing really well, but I mean, it's just the Sixers need to make a move. They need to get Lillard. They need to get Harden. Or honestly, if they can finagle a way to get Beal, Bradley Beal.
Exactly.
Like if
it's
they
really
can,
like, yep. It's really like Embiid needs a guy. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off real quick.
No.
I'm just saying Embiid. I think what we're getting at here is Embiid has been having a monster season and needs, like, he's been playing so well that he needs to be paired with someone that is just on par with him in terms of scoring, someone that has that outside game. It'd be perfect like a Beal, Lillard, Harden, someone like that pairs with him, and you can't double either of them. That it would be a perfect pairing because Embiid is having that, such a great season. But let's talk about the Nets real quick. The Nets, how are the Nets going to look, on the other side of this trade? Because I think we both agree, Simmons, Maxey, I think that is a plus for the Nets. If Simmons is going to end up playing.
That is a huge plus. I mean, in my opinion, I think Simmons is just, and this is not a knock on Simmons at all. I think he's a souped up Draymond Green, in my opinion. He's like a younger, more athletic, just Draymond Green. He doesn't shoot that well.
I was high on Ben Simmons before he, blew that layup against the Hawks, but
same. I mean, I've never called Ben Simmons a shitty player. I mean, I have called him maybe not great offensive player, but it's only because he makes such a difference on the defensive end and also playmaking as well. I mean, like, he does everything well except for shooting the ball. And that's just what sucks about Simmons, because, I mean, I really hope right now he's shooting hoops right now, getting hyped, and hopefully he's going to get traded and have a monster season, because that's what I think is going to happen. I think he's going to have a monster season. Wherever he goes, whenever he plays, he's going to have a monster season. He's going to show people why he was drafted number 1 overall and all that shit. Like, he was rightfully so taken number 1 overall. And just because you have that talent and don't have one little asset to yourself in having shooting ability, even though that's really important in today's game, especially having a really guard heavy league with Steph, Lillard, Kyrie Irving, everyone wanting to shoot the ball, everyone wanting to create a shot, everyone, needing to shoot a 3 and, kind of limiting mid-range shots and everything and wanting to stretch the floor. But Simmons can make a difference, especially on the Nets, because
especially on the Nets. They need defense. They need rebounding. They need someone to alleviate defensive pressure from KD, who's going to be coming back from a pretty bad injury, and someone that was playing a ton of minutes and was being their defensive anchor. Yeah,
boom. That's the biggest point. He can be the biggest defensive anchor. If Ben Simmons would be traded to the Nets, would be Ben Simmons. He would be the anchor of that defense, because alleviating Kevin Durant of some defensive duties, allowing Claxton to be more of just a rim protector instead of just trying to guard the best big man, because that's hard. It's hard to guard the best big man and try to be a rim protector and do everything and rebound. So Simmons can help out with that, help with the subpar centers that they have on the team and playmake. With Harden leaving that team, they're going to be losing a lot of playmaking. So having Simmons come in, being able to handle the ball while Kyrie can actually still be in the shooting guard position. Because if you remember, Kyrie Irving said he plays best as a natural shooting guard. He even said, "Harden, you're the point guard." That's what he said. Harden, you're the point guard.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons will probably be the point guard, even though he plays a power forward, can guard 1 through 5. He will probably be being the facilitator of that offense, with Kyrie Irving being off ball, having Joe Harris off the ball, Kevin Durant. And then, let's say you have either LaMarcus Aldridge, Claxton, or Blake Griffin. That's what you have. That's what, but I mean, you probably honestly have Aldridge in to stretch the floor, in my opinion. But I mean, I don't know. That's what, or
they have a decent rotation of big men. Yeah, they have guys that are going to give up fouls.
Small ball and put Patty Mills in, Patty Mills, Kyrie Irving, Joe Harris, Kevin Durant, and Simmons.
That's a lot of shooting around Simmons, which is exactly what we've been saying about him, that he just needs shooting around him. I mean, we haven't really seen that yet.
That would be 3 tons of shooting, bro.
Yeah,
Kevin
Mills,
Durant.
Kyrie, KD, and Harris.
That
Like
would be
all four of those guys, all four valid, very valid shooters. We haven't seen that yet. We've all, I think Ben Simmons, truthers, we've wanted to see like, the max, elite version of him is we want to see him was surrounded by shooters.
Of course,
and that lineup would be crazy. I hope it works out. The Nets, we've learned this year, they're a bunch of what ifs. I think the Nets, they have a lot of potential, but there's a lot of question marks on whether they're going to reach it or not. And this is another wrinkle in that we're not even sure, if Simmons is going to play for them. Who knows? But I think hypothetically, if he ends up playing, and if they were able to get Maxey in there too, then I'd really think the Nets would be more dangerous because they'd have a little bit more depth, a little bit more versatility.
Yeah, Maxey could come off the bench, be a good piece off the bench, be a little spark, a good 6-man for sure.
Exactly. But, and then the Sixers, you got two, high caliber offensive players that, Harden could be able to hide on defense because you could funnel everything in Embiid. You have Matisse Thybulle, you have Harris, who's a solid defender, and you have these other, a lot of other solid role guys, Curry hitting threes. Like that would be really good for them too, because we haven't seen Embiid paired with a guy that, matches his skill set.
Of course.
Because, obviously Embiid, Simmons, they weren't, they're a good duo, but they just didn't really fit play style wise. So I really want to see that.
But we also have teams nipping at those teams, heels. The Bulls, nipping at these teams. Like, so the Cavs, the Hornets, these young teams are going to be nipping at, the Bulls, the Nets, the Sixers, Eventually,
Bucks.
Honestly, I actually think hopefully, the Bucks. Why am I leaving out the Bucks, bro? Giannis, Finals MVP. The Heat, they're gonna have a really good second half season because Bam Adebayo was out for probably about like 35-40% of the season, and he's gonna have fresh legs.
Yep.
He's gonna have fresh legs, bro.
No, the Heat
and I
have
believe
been
in
the
Bam
sleeping
Adebayo.
giant,
I
bro.
believe in Bam Adebayo. I believe in Kyle Lowry, and I believe in Jimmy Butler, and also. Sneaky. They have Victor Oladipo, bro. I don't know when he's coming back. I don't know what he's going to look like, but
if they can get anything from him, that will be a plus.
That's Victor Oladipo, and you still have Tyler Hero coming off the bench. Victor Oladipo actually might cause struggle because now that I think about it, they have a lot of like wing depth. They have a lot of shooters like Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero. They have Victor Oladipo, and then
Strauss.
Yeah, they have Vincent. Yeah, Strauss, and he's been going off too. They have a lot of young players now coming in and kind of stepping up for them. But that's what the Heat are, though. It's like what
culture.
The Heat are what the Knicks tried to be.
They got more skill. They got more skill.
The Knicks tried to be. Like that's how
they got more offense.
How I see it. Yeah,
exactly. Well, let's get into another team that we alluded to. We talked about the Heat. Let's get into the Cavs, who, are super, super young, but they're balling. I mean, they're right there atop the East. They are currently the 3rd seed. They're a game and a half back of the 1 seed. This is a team that I think we all, kind of liked coming in, but I don't really think anyone expected them to be this good. And the Cavs right now, they're sitting, like we said, they're in a really good spot, but they still have a little bit more to do to really grow into, potentially, a championship contender. I think they have that potential with Mobley. Garland's hurt right now, but he's going to be coming back. Jared Allen, who was a throwaway in that James Harden trade, and they got him. 2 massive rim protectors. So I'll ask you this: what do the Cavs need to do to really solidify themselves as a legit contender, potentially even right now, because I think we all feel like in the coming 2, 3, 4 years that they'll get there. But honestly, like we said, the East is wide open, and they can maybe get there right now if they make a smart move.
For sure.
What do you want them to do?
So I mean, I'm really wanting them to kind of not strip their guard depth, but I do want them to trade 1, if not 2, of their guards and maybe a center, because they have kind of a little excess pieces in some really important places in today's league, being the center position and also the wing position, specifically the point guard. They have really good players, Rubio, Colin Sexton, obviously Garland, obviously Evan Mobley, obviously Jared Allen. But I mean, I think players they should maybe look into venturing, maybe packaging into a deal, or maybe trying to get some value for to maybe make a push to stay in, maybe not necessarily the top three where they're at right now, which is sick, but maybe definitely stay within the home court advantage. I see them maybe finishing around maybe 4. If they want to solidify, if they want to solidify, like maybe like making a push in playoffs, they need home court for at least the first round, because they're going to be going up against a tough opponent. Because if they're in the 4 seed, they're probably going to be playing Brooklyn or Philly.
That's a tough ass first round matchup.
That's my thing. So I mean, you're really trying to, if anything, you want to be in that, you want to stay in that 3rd seed if you are Cleveland, sorry. Because then at that point you have someone like the Toronto Raptors that can stay as hot as they've been with Scotty Barnes and Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby. Dude, they got lightning in a bottle, bro. They're nice, dude. But the Raptors can make a push and maybe get out of the play-in tournament, which they're in right now. And honestly, this is because, and we're probably going to get into them next, but I love this team. I think the Hornets are going to have a great second half of the season. But maybe like Charlotte Hornets pushing in the 7th seed and trying to push for a little 6 seed. That would be really tough for them sitting in the 9th seed. But they have a lot of pieces that are really attractive for teams that could be up for grabs for playoff teams. You know, buyers like wanting to pay for Rozier or maybe Oubre. I like those 2 players because, I mean, Rozier, he is for sure a starting point guard on that team.
He has buckets.
For sure. He silences the crowds, bro. Scary Terry, man. I mean, who wouldn't want him? And also trading him would allow LaMelo Ball to continue to develop, become the all-star that he is, become the triple-double threat that he is. Just LaMelo is just amazing. I put LaMelo kind of like maybe like a notch or 2 under Luka Doncic. Like I'm really high on LaMelo Ball, bro. He is something special, bro. But that's why I'm saying you need to get some pieces and maybe even some cap room to finagle with, like I said earlier, that word again, to maybe sign some players for LaMelo Ball, because honestly, the Hornets are actually kind of not bad of a franchise. I mean, dude, Michael Jordan's the owner. LaMelo Ball's the star. I mean, bro, who wouldn't want to be with Michael Jordan and LaMelo Ball, man? I mean, I'm just saying, bro, that seems pretty spicy, man. The Hornets can definitely be something special if they kind of make some good moves. But, I mean, they need to trade for a center. That's their main thing, because, I mean, I don't think Mason Plumlee cuts it for them. I mean, it's just, it was a good pickup, but, I mean, I don't –
No, 100. Yeah, I agree. Okay, with the Cavs and the Hornets, you already mentioned it. The Hornets, they need a center, and the Cavs, I think what they really need. You already alluded to it. They got a good group of guards. I think I'm pro Colin Sexton. I really like him as a player, but I'm anti Sexton and Garland together. I don't really think they fit as a backcourt. I think they're like a light version of CJ and Dame, where it's a lot of offense, but you give up a lot on defense. I think getting rid of Sexton and potentially Rubio, both or one of them, you could really get what they really need back is either another scorer, like a Karis LeVert, Eric Gordon type that can get buckets off the bench, or another wing. They need like another 3-and-D wing, like a better version of maybe like an Isaac Okoro while he's still developing. I think that's really what they need right now.
Oh man, dude. I mean, this wouldn't do any good for them this season, really. Whatever, but I mean, like a player that would fit really good on the Cavs right now. And there's no way I can't really think of a scenario on like how this would end up happening because this is just like a player that would fit really good on the Cavs. But a Tobias Harris like player on the Cavs, bro. Like someone that can score,
big 3-and-D wing
defense. Like not like just 3-and-D, but like Harris can make a shot, man. He can like pull up, hit a mid-range KD like shot, bro. I'm like, dang, bro, he made that. Like there's many times where I see Tobias Harris do that. And if he's on a team like the Cavs, he would be getting a lot of offensive attention because he would be the best offensive scorer on that team. And he wouldn't be in that scenario. He's never really been that type of scenario except for being on the Pistons. Maybe the Clippers. I kind of like Lou Will as the primary scorer on that team. That's why I'm not saying on the Clippers, but definitely the Pistons. Tobias Harris just he hasn't had the right setting to just go off like offense.
Yeah, but to be fair, if Tobias Harris is your best player to go off, how good is your team going to be? You know.
But yeah, of course. But I mean,
he's
with
a
the
good
Cavs,
complementary
how they are,
piece.
with the Cavs, how they are right now. I mean, like that's why I said wouldn't change all too much. Like to them, it would just be a really good piece because I mean, like they just have sometimes trouble like having that wing player that can score because that's where they lack.
I got someone for you, bro. I got someone for you. This is someone that would have fit the timeline. He would have been able to develop with them, who just got traded for nothing, for pennies that the Cavs easily could have gotten. Cam Reddish. I wanted Cam Reddish on the Cavs so bad. It's exactly, they need a 3-and-D defensive guy that can also, you know, create offense for himself. It would have been perfect. He fits their, like I said, timeline because they're really young. But it's it sucks they didn't make that trade. I really would have loved that.
The Cavs are probably going to trade Kevin Love too. I mean, even though he's doing really good for them,
his contract is he's worth a lot of money though.
His contract is pretty large, but I mean, honestly,
he has been good though. Hey, shout out to Kevin Love. He has been very good this season.
Exactly. Shout out to him. This is the only scenario I see. The Cavs probably maybe like buying him out or something so he can go play with like the Lakers or Clippers. Those are like my two destinations because maybe not so much the Lakers because I mean they kind of need defense and stuff. But definitely I kind of see him being with the Clippers because I mean they kind of need offense because I mean they kind of lack in like big men scoring because like
stretch fours like basically.
Yeah, they don't really have really good stretch fours. And
Kevin Love could get back to getting a lot of rebounds, which when he was in Minnesota, he was a really, really good rebounder.
Yeah, he can be a really good rebounder alongside. I mean, I probably wouldn't put him alongside Zubac unless you're playing a really big lineup that you need Love out there for some reason. But Love at the 5 and most nights should be fine. Because, I mean, most times you're playing Hartenstein if you're the Clippers and stuff. I mean, I think Love is an upgrade from Hartenstein. So that'd be a really good thing for them if they can maybe get Kevin Love on a buyout and get him on a minimum contract or something. Because I don't know. But I think the Clippers should I was literally just about to say I think the Clippers should trade Eric Bledsoe, but he just got traded.
Already did.
They did. So the Clippers just got Robert Covington and Norman Powell.
And the Clippers got better, bro. It's a shame that they're not going to have Kawhi and PG come back because, like, if they came back, they'd be set.
No, yeah. I mean, the thing is like Kawhi Leonard. I mean, I don't think he's better than LeBron or KD, but he's in that.
Kawhi's right there when he's healthy. He's right there.
Yeah, exactly. He's not far off, is what I'm saying. And you got Paul George. I'm not high on him and I'm not low on him. I'm just like in the middle with him. I'm just like
PG. He finally had a really good playoffs last year, and like it's just a shame because you think about PG, Kawhi, Norman Powell, Covington, Reggie Jackson, Terrence Mann, Coffey's been coming on a little bit. Kennard's been playing really well as of late. Like, that's a really solid group. And, like, they were 2 games away from the NBA Finals last year without Powell, without Covington, and without Kawhi, in that conference finals. So it's tough if you're, for all the Clippers fans out there. It's really tough because I think on paper this team has a lot of wing depth right now, and they'd be really scary in the playoffs. But I don't think they're going to get PG or Kawhi if they make the playoffs, which is a shame.
Yeah, we've heard reports Kawhi Leonard might come back. We've heard reports Paul George might come back. But in all honesty, this is kind of just like a lost season for the Clippers, and that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. If anything, I kind of wish they kind of just slid a little bit more down the standings, only just to get a better draft pick, because that's all you could wish for at that point.
I don't even know if they're going to have any. I don't even know if they even get their picks. They've given up a ton of their future for.
So, they traded all those picks away to OKC for PG. Mm-hmm. But I mean, hey, it's Clippers need to kind of amp it up next season, because
next season has to be the year, because that might be the last year that they have both those guys.
Next season, next season's gonna be Clippers, and they're gonna need to kind of show us kind of why you signed Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, because as of right now,
I agree.
It's kind of looking like Kawhi Leonard might head out somewhere. Kind of looks like.
You never know.
Looks like someone might be heading out if next season might be kind of a lost one too. So
we'll both be coming back healthy, and I think like you said, I think that's really going to be like a championship or bust season because of all the guys we mentioned. But let's backtrack to the Hornets real quick. We talked about them needing a center. I have someone in mind that I think would be perfect for them, that fits their timeline. He's athletic. He can shoot the three. He's a great rim protector. Miles Turner, who has been on the trade block for 3 seasons now. I think he'd be perfect with this young Hornets team, who we really like. I'm really high on LaMelo, like you said. I think LaMelo
Miles Turner
is – go ahead.
Miles Turner, we can think about Miles Turner, and let's think about maybe another
or Sabonis. One of the Indiana guys should be on the Hornets.
So, no, of course. I kind of more so agree with Miles Turner right now, because you can actually maybe buy low for him right now because he's injured right now. Mm-hmm. Maybe kind of get Pacers to kind of sell low on him. Maybe get trade Oubre and PJ Washington, or maybe Oubre and PJ Washington for Turner and
maybe just that, honestly, and maybe if you're the Hornets, maybe throwing a pick or two. But I think PJ Washington's an exciting young player. He's showed promise these last couple of years.
For sure,
stretch 4,
high flying, stretch 4, stretch 5.
Exactly. I think if I'm the Pacers, I really just want young players. I think they should really be, the Pacers and Blazers are in really similar situations where they have talented players. They have a lot of assets. It's just, I think they should just go for the rebuild, because they don't really have an agenda. They don't really have kind of a purpose right now.
They don't have an agenda. That's the perfect way to put it. They don't have an agenda. They don't really know where to go, and you kind of just need to blow it up, because it hasn't worked, even though you've stayed afloat. I don't know how they've been staying afloat. The Pacers, the Trailblazers, they're 2 decent franchises. They're not bad franchises. It's just,
no, they've always been solid. They're always
they're just solid. Decent. You don't want just solid. So I think the Pacers need to blow it up and kind of get some assets back so they can kind of get back to the old Pacer days, and maybe get another Paul George-esque player, through the draft or something. Because they're getting some assets if they're going to be trading away some of these players like Brogdon, even though he's kind of been struggling with some Achilles injuries.
They can't trade Brogdon just yet. I think they can trade him next year. But Brogdon in the future. Sabonis, Turner, those are 2 guys that I think a lot of teams really want. yeah, they definitely have some assets for sure. I mean, TJ Warren, we kind of forgot about him,
Oh
but he's
yeah,
someone that can get a
TJ
little bit for.
Warren might even get traded too because I mean he's kind of like a
LeVert,
Tobias Harris.
a lot of teams would really like LeVert. He just dropped a 40-piece the other night. Like,
No, yeah,
so,
I mean LeVert is good too. I mean the thing is like with LeVert, he in my opinion can be only at most like a third option.
exactly, but that's the thing. If you're making a move and you're getting him as your third or fourth option, I think you really
So
like that
like
as someone that could just get buckets and that's
no,
it.
of course. But like the only teams that need like a third option are like the Lakers,
The Lakers,
sadly the Nets,
Mavericks,
that just trade. Oh,
Mavericks need a third option. We'll get to we're gonna say the Mavericks for the end because you're a big Mavericks fan.
hey,
Yeah,
hey. I like that one, bro.
yeah. Well,
I
before we get
like
to them, let's get to the Grizzlies.
I didn't think
the
about that.
the darling of the NBA, the Grizzlies, and we talked
Oh
about this
yeah.
earlier. But the
Oh
Grizzlies
yeah.
they're in a prime position right now. They are third in the Western Conference. 6.5 games back of the Suns. They are the top three. Suns, Warriors, Grizzlies are all playing fantastic this year. And I think we can both agree that if they don't make a trade, I think they're really like an injury or two away from even making like a sneaky finals run. I think we think they're that good and that talented. But do you make a trade to get like another like all-star caliber player to pair with Ja and Triple J and Brooks and Bane and whatnot, or do you not mess up your chemistry right now and keep all your guys? Because the thing they have going for them is they are the deepest team in the league. They have so much depth. They have guys off the bench that play like starters on other teams. Their depth is insane. And do you mess that up, or do you go after a Sabonis, like a Jaylen Brown? You go after someone like that solidified championship status. What do you think they should do?
So I feel torn on the statement, or because I want to say it, but I don't. But I'm not saying their play styles, like the way these two teams play, are the same, because they don't play the same whatsoever. What I'm kind of like piggyback riding off of that point you just said. Some players are just playing like starters on other teams, right? Like that could be starters on other teams right now on the Grizzlies, like Bane, people like
starts,
Melton stepping up,
Melton's solid, bro. I like Melton
stepping up, Brooks, he's been kind of on and off the court, but when he's been on the court, he's been there. Triple J,
Tyus
man.
Jones is a really good
Tyus
backup
Jones,
point guard.
bro. Exactly, bro. Really good backup point guard. So they kind of play this is not saying like they're the same team. They don't play alike at all, but I'm just saying like they kind of play like the Warriors in the sense of like they rally around each other and with like camaraderie, and like
their chemistry is off the charts.
Their chemistry is just like crazy. Like they're just like, we're gonna win this no matter like if we're down. We're gonna win this. Like we're gonna win 11 straight. We're gonna win, however many straight. We're gonna keep going because they're a young, hungry team. And so, with that being said, I actually think they don't make a trade because their chemistry. And I think the same with the Warriors. I don't think the Warriors are going to make a trade either. I think the Warriors are just going to stay put where they're at, because originally I thought they were going to trade Wiggins, but now I think they're going to keep him, because now I realize that's the piece that they were missing, other than a center, that Wiseman could possibly fill, whatever.
That's a big what if. We're really kind of waiting on Wiseman.
Exactly. But Andrew Wiggins is like a souped up Iggy, bro. Like
more offensively skilled.
Yeah, exactly, bro. More offensively skilled Iggy. Maybe not so much good. Maybe not the same on defense, but
Yeah, because Iggy was
better.
one of he really is like one of the greatest, like at his peak, like one of the best like perimeter defenders.
Oh yeah, for sure. I won't.
But I get what you're saying. But Wiggins, I think Wiggins does a lot more, to be honest, on offense than like a prime, like an Iggy would, when he was kind of in his prime Warriors days. I agree 100%. I think Wiggins is too important of a piece, to be honest. I would keep Wiggins too. I've been so amazed with obviously we talked about it off camera. Wiggins starting in the All-Star game is a little boring, but that doesn't mean he doesn't deserve to be an All-Star, because there's been so many moments this year where he's like really like carried our offense. When Curry's been cold, a decent part of the year. Curry's been in a real slump this year, and who steps up? Poole steps up, and Wiggins steps up on offense, where Wiggins will drop like 15, 20 points in a quarter and really just like backpack us through that. Like,
I mean, Wiggins can do that, but the thing that's awesome with him is that he can also guard the best small forward on the opposing team. That's what Iggy would do, and that's what now Andrew Wiggins can do, and that's why I kind of really see him being a really crucial part to the Warriors, not only offense but defense.
100%. Well, yeah, I agree. I think the Warriors and Grizzlies, I think their chemistry and their depth is too. I think those two factors are way too important to, because there's risk if you go out and trade, a good portion of your depth and potentially, lose a little bit of that chemistry to get a player that might be a little bit better than all those guys or whatever. I think there's more risk in that where, that player might not fit in and might, it might ruin the chemistry a little bit, and then you won't have as much depth. There is a lot more risk in that than just, staying with what you have, which is great depth, great chemistry. I agree. I think the Grizzlies this year, they're so young, and I think they've really overachieved already. Whatever they do in the playoffs is a plus. Second round, third round, final, whatever. As long as they get past the first round, it's a dub for me. This is kind of like the gravy on top. But next year is when really I would maybe consider, because now next year they're going to come in as being one of the big dogs, because everyone's going to come in next year being like, we all know this team's legit now. Now we're expecting more from them. Then maybe next year, let's see how Jaylen Brown's doing with the Celtics. Maybe next year we'll see if a guy like a Sabonis, or maybe there's going to be another all-star caliber player that wants to leave. Then we'll see about that maybe next year. But I agree with you. This year, keep it house money, and whatever happens, happens. It's same with the Warriors. I think you just got to keep what you have this year.
Same with the Warriors, next year,
we'll see about bringing in another all-star caliber player, because both teams
and honestly,
have the assets to do that.
That could be the same scenario with the Warriors too, depending on how Wiseman pans out, how everything pans out. I mean, do you let's say with the Warriors, let's say Wiseman is terrible, do you now package Wiseman and Wiggins?
I think you probably go,
or
maybe not Wiggins. I think
Wiseman, Poole, and
Moody.
Payton.
Yeah, or Moody.
Or Kuminga.
I don't want to give up Kuminga. I love Kuminga. Kuminga. Besides Curry and Clay, to be honest, Kuminga's been my favorite Warrior this season. Just seeing this 19-year-old athletic freak, just watching him figure out how to play winning basketball and develop just over this half season alone has been so fun. I think he is he's too frisky and too enticing as a player to let go just yet. I think Kuminga could be a fucking beast. He is he has a crazy dunk every game. He plays great defense already, which is really rare for a rookie. His jump shots getting better, his free throws. He's just he's like a flower that's just growing way faster than I could even ever imagine. I can't give up on Kuminga. I love Kuminga, bro. I can't give up on him just yet.
Dude, Kuminga is great, dude. Kuminga is dope. Kuminga, he's been a nice flower to watch blossom so far.
Exactly. With a team that, is, kind of grooming him for the future, but it can contribute right now. It's crazy.
For sure.
But let's get to our last topic, NBA wise. your team, you're a Dallas Mavericks fan. They've been playing really good basketball the last month or so. They've finally been playing some defense. They haven't been doing that since Luka's been there.
Let's go.
Yeah, the Mavs are right there too. I mean, they're currently at the 5th seed. 2 games back of the Jazz for the 4th seed. Potentially get home court. The Mavs are in a frisky situation. They have, there's rumors about Brunson. There's rumors about, KP because he's been playing a lot better. As a Mavericks fan, as our Mavericks analysts on the Coast to Coast podcast, what do you think? What do you think they should do? What do you want them to do at the deadline?
Oh man. So the Mavericks, obviously, Luka Doncic is just Luka Doncic. He does whatever he needs when his name is called upon, and that's what I love about him. He's only going to continue to get better. Luka. He's averaging career lows, but they're freaking 25-8-8.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, you're telling me that's crap? No, those are some pretty awesome career lows.
People would kill for that. Those are like career numbers for a lot of fools. Yeah.
But to the team though, we struggle a lot offensively in a sense of creating not only just good shots, but just good plays. We don't even make plays.
Without
we
Luka.
Just do a lot of isolation.
Yeah.
Even when he's in the game, he's just a lot of isolation. Even when he's out of the game, there's just too much pressure on Brunson to just create everything for the offense, and he can't do what Luka can do to 100%, but he can do it. But one thing I do love about the Mavs season, though, is that we've tried when it's counted so far. And what I mean by that,
you play up and down to your competition, depending on who it is. We play
up and down to our competition, which isn't the best, but it isn't worse. But I think the Mavs need to kind of move in the direction of kind of trading some of their pieces that they've developed into winning tangible assets for now. And I think you can maybe start trying to, this is really controversial for me because this is my second favorite player on the Mavs. And, this may surprise a lot of people, but I think the second best player on the Mavs is Jalen Brunson, bro.
Yep.
That guy.
I agree. I 100% agree.
He never makes a mistake. He always passes the ball at the right time. He always shoots the ball at the right time. He's always just putting people in the right position. He's always just being the magician that he is.
He's a high IQ point guard. He's really
super
solid.
High IQ. But the thing about the Mavs is that we need to kind of maybe sell high on him right now because he can definitely be a starting point guard and definitely put other teams in position to win. So that being said, I mean, I think we should maybe start thinking of maybe like a Jalen Brunson, Tim Hardaway Jr., and maybe like a Josh Green, and maybe Josh Green or Powell. Josh Green or
Kleber, one of those two big guys.
Yeah, one of those two big guys for a little trade package to maybe bring
who would you want? What kind of player would you want back?
We don't even necessarily need a Bradley Beal, James Harden, the big home run Simmons deals. You know what I mean? I like that Karis LeVert, thing you're kind of saying, bro. Honestly, that wouldn't be too bad of a trade. I really like that because that takes a lot of offensive pressure off him, off Luka. That's what I mean by him. And also maybe a little bit of playmaking. He's not the best playmaker, but definitely can play make and can put our team in a position to kind of perform better on the offensive end. But also, I kind of maybe like a Tobias Harris trade. We can maybe get a Tobias Harris in a Mavs uniform. That would be great. If we can get our hands,
like a Tobias Harris type player. I personally, my ideal pairing for Luka, because I think Luka, we both agree, is like a generational talent, and I think he needs to be like we're waiting on. We thought Porzingis was going to be like his sidekick, his 1-2 duo, that was going to potentially get to the promised land. It's not going to be him. someone I want to see, that I think would fit perfectly with Luka, to kind of be like that 1-2 punch of the future, like a Tatum or a Brown, like a massive, wing, player like that. I want to see like someone like that be paired with Luka.
Yeah.
I think it's a shame that Brunson, Luka has the ball so much that, it kind of, Brunson's so good with the ball that you're not really able to maximize his potential when you play with Luka.
Sure.
And Brunson's he's too overqualified to come off the bench. So it's tough when they play together because it's like, yeah, you want him as a secondary playmaker, but it's also like then Luka doesn't really do much off the ball. So it's tough. And it's sad that they can't work together, but I think both their skill sets are best, separated.
No, yeah. And, I mean, I love Brunson. If you're hearing this, Brunson, I love you, man. But,
I bet he's hearing this. I bet he's watching the live stream right
now. But, man, the Mavs definitely need to shake up the roster because, like you said, we're chilling in the 5th seed, 30-23 right now. I definitely would like to make a push for the 4 seed for sure. We need to get home court advantage. We kind of need a little second half season spark, which I think we're going to get. We're going to be winning a lot of close games, I feel like, because we have Luka Doncic. That's the thing with the Mavs that a lot of people, a lot of teams don't have. Sorry. They don't have closers. Luka's a closer, man.
Closer.
He will close it for you, man. So as long as we got a closer, and as long as he kind of got the crew around him, I hope we can pull it off. But, I mean, we definitely have to shake up the roster to be able to make a push for home court advantage because that's going to be our best bet right there. Home court advantage going up against maybe a dwindling Jazz team, in the first round. That would be pretty nice. Going up against a 4 or 5 Jazz team, that would be pretty nice. So it would be a little tough going up against Donovan Mitchell. They're a little gritty on the defensive end.
Luka would pull Gobert out.
It's a better matchup than playing, like, honestly,
the Clippers. You guys got unlucky
playing
the Clippers the last couple of years.
The Lakers, or let's say the Blazers kind of just make a ruckus in the play-in and just go in the, like.
I hate to break it to you, dog. That's not gonna happen. No, okay. Well, let's pick a different example. Like, even like the Nuggets. I still wouldn't really want to see the Nuggets just because Jokic.
No, the Nuggets, and honestly, let's say even the Jazz slide down, bro. Like the Jazz could definitely slide down, and the Jazz and Nuggets could bump up, and Dallas and Memphis can be stuck at 4 and 5. That would be terrible.
Yeah.
Going up against Ja Morant, it's just a hot young team, bro. Because the Mavs went up against the Grizzlies, bro. If the Mavs went up against Grizzlies, I know we beat them. When they're on their like 11-game win streak or whatever. But dude, man, that team does not let up. That team does not let up, bro.
I would pick them 100% against you guys.
They go until the buzzer sounds, man. That's what makes them such a good team. But it's a little tough for the Mavs, and unless we make a trade, I don't see us going for the playoffs.
I see you guys as like a first or second round team, but
I do see us advancing past the first round this year, though, only because we've just had too many close bounce outs in the first round, man. Like, come on, like the 2 bounce outs with the Clippers have just been devastating. Devastating. And I don't know. The Mavs pull it off for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that concludes our NBA talk. Real quick before we leave, just a quick little Super Bowl prediction. How are you feeling about this year's Super Bowl? What do you think's going to happen?
Oh yeah. I'm sorry, bro. I know a lot of people are really high on Joey Biscuit, but man.
Same. I'm going the Rams just because Rams, no shame to Joe. I love Joe Burrow too. But I think that defensive line of the Rams is too good.
Dude. That's a hot take, bro. Joe Burrow is a top 5 quarterback in the league, bro.
I could agree. I think he's playing that way right now, man. He's legit, but that offensive line is not legit. I think the Rams defensive line is going to tear them up.
Legit.
And I would pick Von Miller, Donald, or Leonard Floyd to win Super Bowl MVP.
I was just about to say Aaron
I'm putting money on Donald Super Bowl MVP. Yeah. For sure, bro. Because, dude, he is going to get like 8 sacks.
Like you said, the sneaky one could be Von Miller because he's already
or Leonard Floyd. One of those three. I would pick one of those three to win the Super Bowl because that O-line ain't doing nothing with those boys.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I'm picking the Rams for that reason. I think the Bengals offensive line, they've held up. They've done, they haven't really done that great of a job, but they've survived up until now. But this Rams D line is like low-key, like generational, bro.
Oh, dude, it's nasty, bro, dude. The Rams D line is nasty, bro. And they got Ramsey dude, they just got everyone, bro. They just
Hey, Ramsey versus Chase is going to be crazy.
Dude, and they got to get Weddle his ring, bro. He came out of retirement for this, bro.
Yeah, he was sitting on the couch. They pulled him off the couch to come play in the Super Bowl.
Weddle has to get the ring, bro. You know.
That's hilarious. I'm glad we're on the same page. We're putting money down on Donald MVP.
Yeah, I'm with that.
I'm with that. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of the on-air edition of the Coast to Coast podcast.
Yes,
Thank you so much for coming on. I'm glad we finally got this. You can come on whenever you want, talk hoops.
Of course, bro. Of course. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on, bro. Like I said, man, y'all are doing some good stuff, bro. I love hearing y'all's podcast and everything, and it was just super sick to be able to hop on and talk some hoops. A little brief segment of football, but I love it, bro.
Yeah, again, thank you for being on. And yeah, without further ado, that will conclude this episode. Peace.